about the YouTube rabbit hole of radicalization. You've probably heard about the YouTube rabbit hole of radicalization. They're working hard on that one, folks. You know, I wouldn't be surprised just because I mentioned this. You know, like I've doubled your chances of getting demonetized. But it was a good story. It was really well reported, a really solid story, and but there was this sort of interesting moment where they interviewed this YouTube engineer who, or like got a comment from this engineer who'd done this kind of internal engagement study on YouTube. And he was like, well, you know, we don't usually think of this as a vertical, but if you did think of it as a vertical, and I'm sure, you know, for his query purposes, he's defining this just incredibly, ultimately broadly, right? But he's like, if you did think of it as a vertical, then basically, if you looked at our top 4 verticals, it would be like gaming and you know, music and sports and the alt-right, and that's what the article said. Now you know, I mean, obviously I'm reading this in the New York Times, so you know, we have to discount this a little bit, but the thing is, and this is sort of both the problem and the paradox in a way, is that there's a sort of enormous demand for heterodox content out there. And what's missing is basically David Geffen to come and say, this is the good heterodox content, this other stuff is just crap. And the thing is...
So you really do get my project then? I appreciate that.
Maybe I invented it first, you know, and, but yeah, no, I think that is your, you know, well, the thing is, you know, one of the things is, like, when you're looking at anything that's like true or makes sense, what you'll see is that a lot of people invent it at the same time. And, you know, it's only people like you who execute, you know, rather than me who sits in my room and just scribbles, who actually gets things done. I mean, you know, like, and so it's great that you create your own content, but you may have more of a role as a David Geffen.
Interesting. Go on.
But yeah, that's in a sense the level of opportunity, and what's missing is, like, when you think about, I think when most people think about, you know, there's sort of many meanings of this, you know, strange term alt-right, right? What it meant in 2015 is not what it means now. As you're well aware, there are plenty of people in the world with the power to change the meaning of a word. Not individuals, but systems. And so in a way, that word has changed. You know, you might say now, if you were casting the broadest possible net, you know, dissident right, you know, deep right, you know, I tried to make this catch on, but totally failed. You know, people only, you know, if you're coining things, like, almost everything will fail. You just got to bear that in mind. And so in a way, you know, when you look at the breadth of that set, what's really missing there is a really just savage quality filter, like a really ruthless quality filter. And that's not even going to be a filter. The one thing I do think, well, Justin gets many things, but one thing I do think Justin gets is that filter, when most people think about that filter, they're still thinking these very conventional terms. So they're just like, oh, you know, well, the moderate side of this is okay, but then there are these people who go too far. I wouldn't say, like, thinking about it in those terms is very unproductive, but there's certainly many. It's very, very easy. There are many ways to just simply be wrong, and you're just never going to win by being wrong.